Howdy everybody, it's Raymond Dahlman, President of DSA Financial Group. Want to wish you to Monday, February 15th, 2021. It's my birthday, 47 today, and you're probably asking, Ray, why are you wearing a sailor's hat? Well, it would have been inappropriate for me to wear my birthday suit on this camera, so I figured next best thing, last time I was a seaman. So anyways, take that off, put my glasses on so I can see the screen. So how's everybody doing? Everyone survived the snowpocalypse and the Arctic blast that we've been experiencing. We had a little bit of cold weather here in Colorado. Let's see, we are up to a balmy 26 degrees here. So yesterday or last night the temperature on my phone said -13, so it was a little chilly, and my furnace unfortunately did its best to try to keep us warm, but had trouble staying up at 70 degrees. So anyways, hope everyone's safe and didn't lose power or freeze to death. That'd be a bad thing. So market's closed today, probably because it's my birthday, you know, and President's Day. So so there's not a lot going on. I got Fox Business on the tube right now, and I think they're just filling time with you know, stuff that's not really important. So anyways, let's dive into what's going on this week. Let's see, the weekly economic update. We finished up last week pretty decent. The Dow Jones was up about 1%, S&P about 1.23, and the NASDAQ was up just under 2%. So not a bad week in the markets. You know, there is still a lot of flux, I guess you would call it, in the economy. So, you know, up is good. You know, but like I said, I've said quite a few times over the last couple of years, I am expecting some contraction in the economy coming up. You know, with all the things that have gone on the last 12 months, in my opinion, it's just going to make it a little bit worse. So, but like I said, you know, stocks appear to be doing well. That's what most people seem to care about, how the stock market's doing. So let's see. Right now, you know, some expect that the economy is going to continue to rise. I'm a little more pessimistic. There's just been a lot of, you know, money creation and a lot of people out of work. We covered that on the last week's video as far as the unemployment numbers. They're not terrible, but, you know, with everything that's gone on the last year, they certainly could be a lot better. All right, so the week ahead, earnings season is kicking off right now. So looks like on Wednesday we're going to have retail sales, industrial production, and the FOMC is going to put out their minutes. Obviously Thursday jobless claims will come out, plus housing starts, and on Friday existing homes, and looks like the purchasing managers index report will come out. So like I said, earnings, this is earnings season. You know, if you go out to the internet, you can probably find a bunch of earnings calendars that'll break down all the major companies that are out there. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, what it looks like, you know, for, you know, retail and the rest of the economy. See how they've been doing, especially through the Christmas season. So that should be of interest. Like I said, you know, year to date, everything's looking pretty good. NASDAQ has been on a nice run, but all the major indexes seem to be doing pretty good right now. And let's flip over some articles that I've attached to my newsletter if you're receiving this via email. The first one, you know, should you consider refinancing your house? You know, that's kind of a up in the air kind of thing. I know I did an evaluation of my own mortgage last fall, I think it was. And I mean, my mortgage rate's pretty good. I think it's 3 1/4. We've only had this house for about 4 years. So we were offered, I think, 2 1/4 or 2 1/2 when we sat down and talked with our mortgage company, and I mean, it would have lowered our payments. We would have probably done a shorter term, but in our case, it was going to increase our mortgage balance by about $12,000. So, weighing the pros and the cons, I mean, we're paying extra already towards our mortgage, and I just, in good conscience, couldn't see giving my lender another extra $12,000. So I chose to hold off. I don't think interest rates will ever go to zero, but if you do have a mortgage that has rates in the 4 to 5% range, it probably would be to your benefit to consider it, or at least evaluate it. If you're a client of mine, feel free to send me a proposal, and I'll look over it, and we can run the numbers together and see if that makes sense. But it's never open and shut. I mean, you have to really look at is that the most you can afford to pay, and that's the minimum payments. Maybe refinancing makes sense because it's going to lower your payment and also reduce some of your interest. But you also do have to think about the closing costs. So that's probably my one big piece of advice when it comes to refinancing is just making sure that it's a good deal in the long term for you. So, all right, the next white paper that I am putting out, retirement questions that have nothing to do with money. And this actually, I have to agree a lot with this. I probably answer more questions that have to do with lifestyle, purchases of things that have nothing to do with investments. And I like it. Well, let me say I like that people come to me and ask for my advice. What I think that my clients appreciate is that I'm a sounding board. If husband and wife aren't agreeing on something, I feel like sometimes I'm the tiebreaker. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, depending upon the situation. But like I said, there's a lot more to just being a retirement planner than just here's your money, here's your investments, here's their performance, X, Y, Z. Try to get people to think about what their life is going to be like. And like this last weekend, my wife and I, we went we went into Denver for the weekend, and so we boarded our dogs. And then when we got back here yesterday afternoon, the dogs were still at the kennel, and my wife says to me, "Gosh, it's so quiet." I mean, because we don't have kids at home anymore, and without our pups around, it just was a little too quiet around the house. So that'd probably be some good advice. There would be get a dog. I love dogs, but or a cat if you like cats too. But they keep you young, they keep you entertained. I mean, they can be a pain in the ass, but when they wake you up at 7 o'clock in the morning because they're starving. But I think having someone to take care of is I don't know. It provides you with some purpose. Even like myself, my life's not too exciting. Live out here in the woods next to the Front Range, and there's not a whole lot to do, which I'm perfectly happy with. But if I didn't have my dogs, and when my wife traveled a lot last year and the year before, they keep you entertained. So, but thinking about what you're going to do with your time once you're retired, or even just slowing down, where you're going to live. Do you want to live in a big city? That was a question my wife and I kind of pondered over the last decade. As our youngest son was getting towards adulthood, do we want to stay in Houston, down in Clear Lake? Do we want to move into a city and live in a condo downtown? Did we want to move out to the hill country in Texas? So we started looking around, and we found that the mountains here in Colorado were perfect for us. She always wanted room to spread out and not have to see people, and I just wanted to get away from the nuts in the cities. So, but that's something to think about. Where do you want to live? And then, as you get older, how are you going to take care of yourself? Are your kids going to help out? Are you going to need in-home care? So these are the kind of things that, they don't have anything to do with, dollars and cents, but, getting your clients to think about these sort of things is important because, I know 15 years ago when I started doing this, clients would talk about, I just don't want to work anymore. I just don't want to ever see my office, or I don't ever want to have to commute. and that's a nice thought, but the honeymoon period, that kind of wears off after a while, and you're like, what am I going to do with my day? And I looked at my grandparents. They were the most busy people after my granddad retired in what was it, 92 when I graduated high school. So, and they just passed away, I guess, what was that, 7 years ago now. So, they were super busy people, their entire retired lives. I mean, they were members of my grandfather was an Elk. He was part of the, did something with city council in the little town he lived in. So, I mean, these people were always busy. And when we lived in Houston, we would, sometimes stop by and they were not there. So we learned to call first to see if they were going to be around for a visit. So anyways, and let's see, the third white paper I'm putting out this week, how soon can we expect stimulus if you're eligible to receive it? I haven't really seen a lot as far as, I mean, yeah, you watch a lot of TV and you're going to get a lot of propaganda from both sides, but I haven't seen a clear date. I know they're trying to, those in Congress are trying to attach a $15 minimum wage to the stimulus. I see that as a non-starter. I see that being a real anchor to the economy if, essentially double the minimum wage from 7 something where it is today to, up to 15. That's unfortunately going to put a lot of strain on small businesses, places that don't have the large infrastructure to absorb those costs. I just don't see that as a good idea personally. As a libertarian, I detest minimum wage. I think it's government has no place in setting supply and demand standards, and I guess I look at it like I look at myself. I haven't made minimum wage since I was 15 years old, working at the Kroger on El Dorado as a bagger. So, and back then I made $3.25 an hour. So, when I turned 16, I became a cashier and was making like $5. So I was making twice the minimum wage at 16 years old, and haven't looked back. So, the way I look at wages is, do your skills, if I was hiring someone, do your skills warrant the wage that I'm going to pay you? And that's really how everyone should look at their their career. Do the skills that I possess, are they worth more? Are they worth less? And, if you don't like, the position you're in life, go out. I mean, we have the internet right here. I'm talking to you through this, through this screen. So, go onto YouTube, learn how to code, learn how to, I mean, there's lots of things that's just out there. Start a business. To me, minimum wage for minimum skills. And unfortunately, if I ran a restaurant, I just wouldn't pay someone $15 an hour to serve food. So, if they make that off of tips, so be it. But from an employer standpoint, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So, if they're going to, if Congress is going to try to attach those two things together and make it a, not like an omnibus bill where both of them have to, pass, I just don't see that as being a good idea. I see that probably the Republicans will fight against that. Of course, the Democrats will, state that why it's necessary. And like I said, looking at it from a business perspective, it just doesn't make sense to have the government declaring by fiat, how much you should pay someone to pump gas or whatever the case may be. That should be a decision between the employee and the employer, and they should come to an agreement. So as long as 2 consenting adults agree on it, I don't care. So, all right, that's about all I had for, like I said, the market's closed today. There's not a whole lot going on, and I'm going to get back to and finishing up some busy work and spend the rest of my afternoon with my lovely wife. And I'd like to tell her thank you for the wonderful birthday weekend. We'll see if she watches this. She hadn't watched the previous one, so I'm going to put this at the very end so that she has to sit through me yapping for 10 or 15 minutes before she sees this. So anyways, if anyone has any questions or concerns out there, if there's a specific subject that you'd like me to spend some time talking about, I don't mind putting together a quick video, because if it's a question you have, probably other people have those same questions. And I always get a grin on my face when someone says, I know this is a stupid question. You know, there are no stupid questions. You know, there's stupid people who don't ask questions, but there are no dumb questions. So that's about it for Monday the 15th. And hopefully we have a smooth week in the markets. Like I said, earnings season's coming out. So depending upon how that goes, we'll see how it affects where the market's going to go heading into the second quarter of the year. So hopefully we have more good news. I'd like to see the economy open up more. You know, for those who are planning on getting the vaccine, you know, maybe that provides some what's the word I'm looking for? Less apprehension from going out in public. For those who are younger and healthy, I'd say, you know, go out and get to work. There's some opportunities out there. I think the world and the economy is going to go through some major changes here in the next few years. So I think for those who are prepared for and are keep their eyes open for opportunity, you know, the job market, I think, will change dramatically, especially with, you know, more virtual working. And I see that the school systems will probably change quite a bit. There's going to be a lot more at-home learning. I think you're going to see a lot more people detaching from the government school systems. You know, I don't want to crap on it. I have clients that are teachers, and they're great people, but the system is just a mess. And we spend, I can speak for my county here in Douglas County, Colorado. We're dropping $12,000 per student, and you know, that just seems like a lot of money. And every time, you know, if you watch the news or you watch, you know, if you hear teachers unions, you know, howling about how they need more funds and more monies for teachers, and you know, you'll see on the interwebs people talking about, well, teachers need to make more. Well, my question to you would be, how much? What's the number? You know, is it 50 grand to start, 100 grand to start? I mean, we need to quantify these things. Not just we need to throw more money at education, because we're spending more per capita than any other nation, and I just don't see how you know, that's a worthwhile cause. So not that I'm, you know, I'm all for education. I mean, I've read, gosh, I probably read or listened to several books last year, a bunch of anthologies on history. I'd recommend Dan Carlin if you're a podcast person. His Hardcore History series is fantastic. If you were a fan of the movie 1917, I definitely would recommend his World War I series. I forget the name of it, something Armageddon, but it fantastic. I would recommend listening, or well, you could do both. I maybe listen to Dan Carlin first and then go back, and if you've already seen 1917, you know, watching that movie after hearing the descriptions of World War I was just fascinating. So anyways, well, I'm going to wrap up there. I've been yapping for over 15 minutes. So like I said, not a whole lot going on today. I think this should probably be a busy week in the markets and the economy. So we'll see where that goes. And definitely talk to you on Friday, and I might have a few videos in the middle of the week. Just depends on what's going on, and we'll go from there. Y'all have a great day, and take care.